So in John chapter 1 verse 17 it says, "For the law, or the Torah, was given through Moses, or given by Moses, but," and the word "but" is added, "grace and truth came by Jesus Christ." Is that true? Was there no grace and truth under the so-called Old Testament God of wrath? Or did grace and truth exist in the Torah, in the law given by the Creator through his servant Moses? So we could start with Genesis chapter 24, verse 27. Um, Here the servant of Abraham, or Avraham, bows his head and he worships the Creator. That's the tetragrammaton right there. The Yud, Hey, Vav, Hey. And he says, "Blessed be the Creator, the God of my master Abraham, who has not forsaken his steadfast love and his faithfulness toward my master. As for me, the Creator has led me in the way to the house of my master's kinsman." So, what's the word there? What's what's translated loving kindness? The root there is Chesed, which is typically translated in the Christian scriptures as grace or mercy, and certainly in Judaism, Chesed is known as mercy. His loving kindness and his truth. Now, this is a pretty concrete term, but I think sometimes it's translated faithfulness. But faithfulness is really just truth in personal relations. So the word there is emet, sometimes pronounced ms, if you're, I guess, pronouncing Ashkenazi Hebrew. So, which I I was not trained in any Ashkenazi Hebrew, except maybe a very little bit, and mostly I was trained in Sephardic Hebrew. So there's the term there, Chesed ve-emes, and we see it. Let's see if I could find it real quick. Let's see, his toward his blah blah. Okay, so here it is. So here it's pronounced, looks like Chasado, and the amo amo amoto. I think it's amoto. That's not amot, right? Sorry, I'm out of practice. So, but anyway, so we have Chesed here with the CH, S, and D construction, and then, for those of us who primarily speak English, and then emet with the Aleph, Mem, Tet, or EMT construction if you prefer. So, at least in that case, like most of the time people think of Aleph, the Aleph as an A sound. But so, but here you see it's Aleph, Mem, Tet, EMT, and here the CH, S, and D construction. So, and the CH is just meant to convey that low guttural sound. Chesed, chesed. It's like deep in the throat. It's not like a smooth H sound like which is higher up in the mouth, higher in the throat, that blowing sound. Hes, hey, home, you know. Chesed is lower in the throat. So, so that's a case of the Abraham's servant attributing Chesed ve-emes to the Creator, and he says, the Creator has led me in the way to the house of my master's kinsman. So he's saying that the Creator has already demonstrated these things. So it's not a case of the Creator promised something and then didn't deliver. He's describing his delivering on the blessing as descriptive of his Chesed ve-emes, the Creator's Chesed ve-emes, grace and truth. So, next one, Genesis 32. Here Jacob is saying, forgive me, I've had like a few too many wasabi flavored peas and they're fighting back. Genesis chapter 32 verse 9, and Jacob said, O God of my father Abraham and God of my father Isaac, O Creator, the Tetragrammaton, who didst say to me, return to your country and to your kindred, and I will do you good. I am not worthy of the least of all the steadfast love and all the faithfulness which thou hast shown to thy servant, for with only my staff I crossed this Jordan, and now I have become two companies. So what's translated as steadfast love and faithfulness is, here in the interlinear, it's translated loving kindness. It's the word chesed. And of all the faithfulness, so all being kol, all the faithfulness, emet. And let's see. So it looks like it's earlier in the, so here it's chasadim. So the looks like acts of mercies. So I'm unworthy of all the mercies. So it's like a continuous thing, because there it's plural, so it suggests that it's multiple acts of mercies. And then looks like umikal ha'emet, the truth, and of all the faithfulness, or the truth. So here we have CHSD, chesed, and emet, EMT. There again, used to describe the Creator in the Torah, in the law of Moses. Then we have Genesis chapter 47. And here we see where this term is being used between biblical personalities, and specifically of Jacob, Jacob, slash Israel, because already it's saying in Genesis chapter 47 verse 27, thus Israel dwelt in the land of Egypt. But now when Jacob is getting old, I'm not sure why, but it's using his original name, Jacob, maybe because it wanted to differentiate Jacob from the people of Israel, uh, and to maybe emphasize his individuality as a person rather than his corporate identity as Israel. Because here it's saying in verse 26, so Joseph made it a statute concerning the land of Egypt, and it stands to this day. We would assume either to Moses' day or to the day of the Sopharim or scribes who maybe copied this, depending on, I guess, your perspective or your beliefs. That Pharaoh should have the fifth, the land of the priests alone did not become Pharaoh's. Thus Israel dwelt in the land of Egypt and the land of Goshen, and they gained possessions in it and were fruitful and multiplied exceedingly. And Jacob lived in the land of Egypt 17 years. So the days of Jacob, the years of his life, were 147 years. Because later, when Israel is spoken of, or I think even Jacob, like it's referring to, the people of Israel. Or if it's referring to Jacob, it's referring to all of Jacob's descendants. But here at the end of his life, it's using the term Jacob. And when the time drew near that Israel must die, well then, look, then it says there's Israel again. He called his son Joseph and said to him, "If now I have found favor in your sight, put your hand under my thigh and promise to deal loyally and truly with me. Do not bury me in Egypt." Now, let's see. "But let me lie with my fathers, carry me out of Egypt, and bury me in their burying place," he answered. I will do as you said." So, so Joseph responds, "I will do as you said." And he said, "Swear to me." And he swore to him. Then Israel bowed himself upon the head of his bed. So here we see where it's not the Creator being described, but it's two people who were devout in their relationship with the Creator, who are described as, or at least Israel is asking Joseph to deal loyally and truly with me, and so that we find Chesed, ve-emes right there in the Hebrew, in the law of Moses. Now, we could say, well, what about and then Joseph took an oath of the sons of Israel, saying, "God will visit you, and you shall carry up my bones from here." So that's Joseph. Now, Moses took the bones of Joseph up with him at the Exodus, and so it's talking about the bones of Joseph, but I specifically wanted to find out, just to demonstrate that Joseph fulfilled the request. After this, Joseph was told, "Behold, your father is ill." So he took with him his two sons, Manasseh and Ephraim, your son Joseph has come to you. Israel summoned his strength. Let's see, I want to see where. Then Israel said to Joseph, Behold, I am about to die, but God will be with you, and will bring you again to the land of your fathers. Moreover, I have given to you, rather than to your brothers, one mountain slope which I took from the hand of the Amorites with my sword and my bow. Let me back up again. Do not bury me in Egypt. Okay, so now he's giving the patriarchal blessings slash prophecies to the tribes of Israel. So then Jacob finished charging his sons. He drew up his feet into the bed and breathed his last, and was gathered to his people. Then Joseph fell on his father's face and wept over him and kissed him. So the physicians embalmed Israel. Joseph commanded his servants, the physicians, to embalm his father. 40 days were required for it, for so many are required for embalming, and the Egyptians wept for him 70 days. 70 is like a number that's all often connected with non-Jews. My father made me swear, saying, I am about to die in my tomb which I hewed out for myself in the land of Canaan. There shall you bury me. Now therefore let me go up, I pray you, and bury my father, then I will return. And Pharaoh answered, Go up and bury your father as he made you swear. So Joseph went up to bury his father, and with him went up all the servants of Pharaoh, the elders of his household, and all the elders of the land of Egypt, as well as all the household of Joseph, his brothers, and his father's household. Only their children, their flocks, and their herds were left in the land of Goshen. And there went up with him both chariots and horsemen. It was a very great company. When they came to the threshing floor of Atad, which is beyond the Jordan, they lamented there with a very great and sorrowful lamentation, and he made a mourning for his father 7 days. When the inhabitants of the land, the Canaanites, saw the mourning on the threshing floor of Atad, they said, This is a grievous mourning to the Egyptians. Therefore the place was named Abel Mizraim. It is beyond the Jordan. Thus his sons did for him as he commanded them. His sons carried him to the land of Canaan and buried him in the cave of the field of Machpelah, to the east of Mamre, which Abraham bought with the field from Ephron the Hittite to possess as a burying place. After he buried his father, Joseph returned to Egypt with his brothers and all who had gone up with him to bury his father. So then there's Joseph fulfilling the Chesed ve-emes that Jacob, Israel, asked of Joseph. So there's another example of Chesed ve-emes happening in the law of Moses. But yet, Christianity, the Christian addendum, specifically the Gospel of John, wants us to believe that Chesed ve-emes came through Jesus. There's no evidence of that. There's no Jesus here. Now, Christians will try to say that the Tetragrammaton represents Jesus, but why couldn't the Tetragrammaton represent the Tetragrammaton? Why the need for a name change? Why confuse things that way? If it was so necessary for the Creator to come down and take human form, why couldn't he just keep the same name? It would have eliminated a whole lot of confusion. We have another passage, Psalms 85. Now this isn't in the Law of Moses, but it is in the Tanakh. And it says, "Show us thy steadfast love, O Creator, and grant us thy salvation. Let me hear what God the Creator will speak, for he will speak peace to his people, to his saints," or his probably tzaddikim, or possibly kedoshim. Let me see. Here it says godly ones, so Hasidim actually. So like Hasidic Jews or Hasidim. To those who turn to him in their hearts. Surely his salvation is at hand for those who fear him, that glory may dwell in our land. Steadfast love and faithfulness will meet, righteousness and peace will kiss each other. Faithfulness will spring up from the ground, and righteousness will look down from the sky. Yea, the Creator will give what is good, and our land will yield its increase. Righteousness will go before him, and make his footsteps a way. Or his, let's see there, it says pa'am, footsteps. A feminine noun. Time, once, now. Feet, 6 times, twice, 5 times, thrice, 4 times. His strokes, his beats, his occurrences. Pa'am, from a root, primitive root, to thrust, impel, push, beat persistently. I don't know. It's a word I'm not familiar with, and it seems kind of murky in its meaning. Here it says hoof beats. Huh. So going back, it's Psalms 85:10, loving kindness, Chesed, and truth, ve-emes. So that's right here, Chesed, ve-emes, grace and truth, mercy and truth. There in the Hebrew Tanakh, long before Christianity ever came along. So quite contrary to what John chapter 1 verse 17 says. So this claim, this Christian claim, is absolute baloney, or the way it's typically received or translated is wrong somehow. Something's got to give. But the Hebrew Tanakh was first. Christianity came later. So if what came later contradicts what came before, you gotta wonder if what came later is a counterfeit, or if it's mistaken. What does AI say about this? Google AI. I'm not sure if this is Gemini or what. It says in the Hebrew Bible, Chesed ve-emes, often translated as loving kindness and truth, or mercy and truth, signifies God's steadfast love and faithfulness, emphasizing both compassion and adherence to truth and justice. Here's a more detailed explanation. Chesed, this Hebrew word, is often translated as loving kindness, mercy, or grace, and it refers to God's unwavering and steadfast love and commitment to his people. It also encompasses compassion, kindness, and a deep sense of care. Emet. This word translates to truth, faithfulness, or steadfastness, representing God's adherence to his promises and his unwavering commitment to justice and righteousness. Chesed ve-emes together. The phrase highlights the interconnectedness of God's love and truth. It suggests that his love is not blind or unprincipled, but rather is rooted in truth and justice, and that his truth is not cold or detached, but is accompanied by compassion and love. Biblical examples. The phrase Chesed ve-emes appears in various contexts in the Hebrew Bible, often used to describe God's character and his relationship with humanity. For example, Psalms 85:11 in probably a Jewish Bible, but 85:10 in usually the Christian Bibles, I think, says, loving kindness and truth have met together, righteousness and peace have kissed each other. Relevance. The concept of Chesed ve-emes is important for understanding God's character and his relationship with humanity. It emphasizes the importance of both compassion and truth in our lives and in our interactions with others. So, contrary to the Christian mischaracterization of the Old Testament God being a God of wrath, who, never forgave anybody and always wanted people to be executed for their sins, we see that Chesed ve-emes is really actually very descriptive in the Hebrew Tanakh, in the Hebrew Scriptures, in the law of Moses even, of the deity of the Hebrews, the God of the Hebrews. This is describing him and his relationship with humanity. So for John to come along in the Christian addendum later on and suggest that Chesed ve-emes didn't exist until Christianity came along, that is an attack on the Hebrew Tanakh, on the Torah, on the Creator, on the God of the children of Israel. So which are you going to side with? Are you going to side with the original, which already had Chesed ve-emes, or are you going to side with the lie that mischaracterizes the scriptures upon which it's supposedly based in order to promote some new religion, namely Christianity, which boasts about a God whose name the children of Israel had never heard of back in the days of the Exodus? And the Torah explicitly forbids the children of Israel from following after a God whose name they had not known. And that is perfectly descriptive of Jesus, and especially Jesus, because there is no hard J sound in either Hebrew or Greek. So it's a sham. It's apostasy. It's preaching apostasy from the Torah, from the Creator's express will.